we were doing podcasting before podcasting was podcasting.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
It
It was in the 90s, and it was Hello Enron, a telephony-based show. And we found that they had bandwidth in Portland, so we said, well, let's put it on the intranet.
Welcome to Set Life, where we tell stories from our industry. I'm Kelley Leger, and this is Amber Butaud.
Welcome to Set Life. I'm Amber Butaud, and this is
Kelley Leger.
And we are sitting with a dear friend of the studios today. Actually, one of our friends from the very, very beginning of the studio, Mr. Ray Schilens.
What an exciting beginning you guys had, too. I mean,
Thanks.
you came into town and you did it right.
Thank you.
That feels good.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. You were so kind to have Kelley and I on your show.
Yeah. Which we will do again.
Yes.
We've got to do that, and we'll do that on the Ad Federation show.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Just to get the word out, and it's time. It's been a while
Yeah.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have so much to fill in.
The thing
That's
that
a lot since then.
lots of things I love about you guys, but the thing I most love is your pure, beautiful love and determination for what you do and the passion.
Thanks.
You know?
Thanks.
Plus, you got a really cool place here.
Bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
And it's good to see. I responded to Cameron's email, which you guys do a great job on social media.
Thank
And
you.
I responded to her email. It was like, man, you guys do good stuff. You know what you're doing.
Thanks.
You just don't come to work. You figure out what tomorrow will be, or maybe beyond tomorrow. Huh?
Oh yeah. Beyond
that's-
tomorrow, and after that, day after that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, we have, I'm so thankful. Thanks for saying that. I'm so thankful for everybody that's a part of our team here that makes all of what you said possible and makes us all look so good. We're the ones that just get to sit here and be the face of it. But man, we have so many people that help bring their own brilliance to the team and to the studio. And I'm just really grateful and thankful. I know we are at everybody that's around here. So thanks for noticing and thanks for saying that.
Yeah, and the passion catches like poison ivy. It's a good thing. People around you, when you're that beautifully spontaneous, with your faith and the things you do as well, it catches on, and it's an important thing that you do that. So, and I'm sure you already know that you are making a difference in her life and his life and everything. Isn't that cool?
Oh,
Yeah.
so
That's
cool.
That's the why, right?
So
Behind what all we do, the reason,
There's no doubt.
to
Sometimes we can't sometimes we don't discover the why because we haven't taken the time to slow down and listen and say, okay, what you got for me? What can I do for you?
yeah.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
But your promotional aspects above and beyond everything are phenomenal, and you're right on target. And the fact that you're doing a podcast with real cameras. Hey, what a concept. I like that.
A full production.
And we talked about location before. This is a great location. Yes, it's far away
Thank
from
you.
Sugar Land.
Yeah.
But so what? That's why they make the toll roads. That's
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
no, you guys are doing great stuff.
The placement close to the, we get, because we're so close to Bush Intercontinental, the major airport here.
Yep.
The people that fly in from out of town are
Appreciate
always
you.
like, whoa, we're just going to hang out here because we've got here like 2 hours early. Because normally when we shoot, we've got to drive a long ways and then we got to sit in traffic and
late.
blah, blah, blah. And so they're like, this is like nothing. We were here in like 10 minutes.
Right.
This is crazy. So
Yeah, you've moved to a great city, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of growth. And the thing that I said to you before about For the One, this city needs a place like this because there's a bit of atrophy. A lot of the greats have gone.
Yeah.
So, like, somebody come back, please. It's a good place. It's a good place to work and live. We had talked about years ago, actually, getting a couple of the Sprinter vans and turning them into mobile recording studios as well. I'm glad we didn't do that because not a lot of people. There's not that need like it would be in Austin or in L.A. or Chicago or something like that. So, but yeah, your place here is in the right space.
Well, we're going to let everybody know we'll pay you later for all the kindness. But this is about you, Ray. This is about
a
you.
30-second commercial for you guys. Right
Thank
now.
you.
I like
Thank
that,
you.
yeah.
As much as we appreciate that, to toss the light back on you, you have been a staple in the industry for a very long time.
Yeah.
You have left your mark on the industry in such a great way. We are honored to have you here in studio and sitting with us and giving us your time and
Imagine that.
sharing your wisdom and knowledge. And so for the people that are listening and watching that don't know who Ray Schilens is, kind of take us through your journey in the industry. Where did that start? And then kind of take us to...
My background is radio. 71 was the year. It was a good year. Rod Stewart was #1 on the charts. It was wonderful. And radio was fun. My wife got me into radio because I'm a musician. So, but you know what? That's a good reason, because radio production, it has a rhythm. And if you can understand and feel that rhythm, you play as well.
Sing.
You
play
sing?
super little, but sing more. Yeah.
Well, you can understand that there's a rhythm to everything we do. So the radio thing was great. And, after going around the country, Detroit, Miami, upstate New York, Cleveland, Akron, Canton, Houston, I was about to go to L.A. And it's like, I don't want to go to L.A. or Atlanta. I wanted to stay here. So we started Radio Lounge. It was called Hot Spots at the time. And we started that just because, now what do I do?
Yeah.
So I was a program director and a radio personality. But during that time as radio, it's kind of cool. We were talking before about KSBJ. I worked at KSBJ. I was Ray Schilens on KSBJ, Ray Carpenter on Sunny. And I had a little card that said my name in the call letters because I wanted to remember to say the right thing. But the time spent with KSBJ was phenomenal with Buddy Holliday.
Yeah.
Those people, that radio station back then, and it still is great, was a phenomenal experience. But I also worked here in Houston for Morning Star, which is a contemporary Christian satellite.
Yeah.
I did mornings there. And that was kind of cool. Those, I spent my days in secular radio, but the Morning Star thing and the KSBJ thing, those were the days where you knew you were making a difference in somebody's life. That's cool.
Yeah.
When we were able to do that.
Yeah.
Morning Star moved to Nashville. Thomas Nelson was the ownership of people. So once again, I didn't go to Nashville either, although that's a great city. It's a wonderful city.
Wow.
Yeah.
So radio is that background. And, Radio Lounge has changed over the years, as any business does. If we look at this place in 10 years, it's not going to be the same place. It'll be doing something different.
Yeah.
And we've, we do the voices, we write the commercials, we do the production, and we do a lot of live event production. If you go to Moody Gardens on Galveston Island, have you guys been there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, for Festival of Lights, that's us.
Wow.
We crafted the music, not the music, but the background for the Houston Air Terminal Museum at Hobby Airport, 1941 background. But what has emerged recently, and we've been the voice of the Houston Symphony for years, probably 3 decades now.
Wow.
We do a lot of stuff there. But what has really come out now, especially post-COVID, is I want to be a voice actor. So
Wow.
a lot of people, a lot of people. And people come from television and the movie industry. They don't know how to be a voice actor.
Right.
So they come to us to help them figure that out
Right.
and start them in the right direction.
That's great.
And that's a lot of fun. It's challenging. We had, there was one gentleman who was in this neck of the woods, North Houston, who came to us. This is kind of a cool story. And his name is Chris. And Chris came to us, and I said, there's something unique about this guy. Chris it turned out to be high on the autism, possibly Asperger's scale, right? So how do we get to somebody like that? Because it's different. You got to be different.
Yeah.
And I figured out a way to do it because I didn't just want to put him through the program and have him not be successful. So anyway, we did. I did a commercial demo. We did the coaching. And then he wanted to do an anime demo because everybody wants to do anime.
Really?
And I can understand that. But Chris called me one day. He goes, "Hey, Ray, I got a job." I go, "Really? How cool? Can I come to the studio and record?" Yeah. And it turned out to be for Autism Speaks. And I go, "Okay, do you know them? Do they know you?" He goes, and I called the guy. I said, "Why did you select Chris?" And they said, "Well, I liked his demo." I'm going, "Okay, do you understand who you've hired here? Amazing." I actually wrote an article in a magazine for that journey for Chris, and it's called Society of Voice Arts and Sciences. It's a representation of our industry for voiceover. And what a cool thing to have happen.
Yeah.
We got this. He had a success. That's really, my title is Identity Crisis Department. Yeah, I own the company. So what? I'm the president and CEO. But what a silly title.
Yeah.
So we really help people discover themselves. And I think it's really important in whatever you do. It is more, for the coaching, it is less a coaching mechanical session. It's more of a psychological thing.
Yeah.
Because you get performances out of people.
Wow.
We're also using Raquel Torres, who is out of Los Angeles. She's an actor, and she is coaching our students as well. Because the actor part of voice actor is the most important thing.
This is very intriguing for me, this side of the voice acting. I had a friend of mine who wanted to do some voice acting, some voice overs and things like that. And I watched him, like he had a propensity for loving media. And I watched him like go through some training of some sort and come out of it. And I'm like, he sounded amazing. I did not realize just how much a proper training, like I couldn't even put my finger on it initially. I'm just like, he could control his voice. Like I didn't even know what that fully meant until I'm listening to him going, they actually really did help you. Can you like just describe like some of the things like in that process, just a little, without giving, the whole school away?
There's no secrets or anything.
I mean, how do you what is that?
It's a process of discovery and refinement. We all have the capacity to be voice actors, don't we?
Sure.
Yeah.
And we all have a unique space in that industry. It's teaching people, it's 95% business and 5% voice. That's the key.
To say
We
about
have
the business anyways.
You got to know the business. You've got to know the business of voice acting. But it really is discovering who's inside and then helping them bring that out. That's all. There's a gentleman who is a former radio host. And he grew up in the era of Good Morning, so he's got that throaty kind of a thing, because that's what radio was back then. He would get so mad at me. He works for a nonprofit that helped the homeless here in town. He's a beautiful man. And he would always be doing his spots like this, It's like, no. And I would task him, and he would get angry, but we got good stuff.
Yeah.
His wife would say, "You never sounded better." So that's the deal. Find the sweet spot and then allow the people to use it naturally.
Because a lot of people try to, I have noticed, they try to change their voice to do their voiceover.
Do that.
And it sounds so, it's
Stupid.
not authentic.
Yeah, you are who you are. I am either, say his name, Lake Wobegon guy, and who's the guy that does the Simply orange commercials? I forget his name. Donald Sutherland. That's who I am. I can't be anybody else. That's who I am. And that's where we all have. You guys both have a niche for who you are and what you can do. And that's the thing. You don't have to change. Just figure out who you are and then be better at it.
Yeah.
That's a piece of cake.
One of the things when we first met and we were talking about like now, I mean, the first time we met, we were talking in good conversation just about the industry and as a whole and our passions for it, our hearts for it. One of the things that drew us together in the like-mindedness was your ability to want to foster talent in other people and pour into people and help grow community and help grow talent and help grow people. And that's the same, as our heart, we have that same passion here to help find people and what I always say around here is put them in the right seat on the bus, so that everybody becomes successful, because it takes all of us to do it, to do this trade, this craft, this industry that we all love and have a passion for. It takes every bit of us working together, being exactly who we're supposed to be and being excellent at what our talents are, and I think you're doing somebody a disservice when they come to you and they're like, oh man, I really love editing. And then you see their things and you're like, when technically you saw them working with lighting and they crushed it. They did something you've never seen before. You're like, hey, you might have this idea that editing's where you want to land because somewhere in your process, somebody probably said something about that. But did you realize how gifted you are in lighting? You just did something there. You suggested something that, it's looking for that in people and calling that forward and helping them see that in themselves.
Because sometimes we can't see the things that are natural propensities. We just, it's because it's so normal to us.
And we don't have the patience either. Teaching someone, doing something ourselves is easy, right?
Yeah.
That's the easy way out. But discovering and seeing the potential of somebody else and then training them or teaching them or helping them direct. And I think that's true in life in general. I think you can walk through life and be you, or you can walk through life and open your eyes and look at those around you and help them become something that they can become.
Yeah.
So you have a training ground here, and that's a mission. And that's what you guys are doing good and great. So
Thank you. Okay, so you went into radio to get us to, you went through radio, but tell us more about what you're doing now. And I mean, you spoke a little bit to it, but you own a studio here in Houston as well. And obviously help voice coach people, but you have all kinds of things going on there.
We have a lot. We mentioned podcasting as well. We were doing podcasting before podcasting was podcasting.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay? It was in the 90s, and it was Hello Enron, a telephony-based show. And we found that they had bandwidth in Portland, so we said, well, let's put it on the intranet. That's kind of cool.
Wow.
And so we did that. But in the biggest thing that we discovered, I'm the co-host of the advertising show. We were on for 15 years for that. We started on September 13th. Of 2001. Think of that date. That is 2 days past 9/11.
Yep.
Right. And we started on the radio, then we were syndicated, then we were on Sirius XM. But we found that the best audience, this is a 2-hour show, was on the internet. We had, I'm told by my co-host Brad, 50,000 listens a month for this show.
Wow.
College students, people in the industry. We always took a global pose with guests and topics and such like that, so it could be a global thing. We had a guy in London who was a contributor. Brad was in Maui, so we used ISDN back then to connect between Sugar Land and Maui. And there was one day we had a guy, it was Brad and me and some guy in Singapore or something like that. So it was a lot of fun. And we ran that for a long time. We were actually we were talking about this earlier today, we were the American Advertising Federation National Awards in Nashville. We were the presenters there, and we did podcasts from there. But this podcast thing, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
This is a really big deal. This morning for District 10, for the Ad Federation, we did a podcast on how to do a club achievement book, a tutorial. Okay? Podcasts are an interesting commodity because people come to us wanting to do a podcast. It's like, okay, you've got an idea for one show. How about giving me 13 or 26 weeks worth of material?
Right.
Because what you're going to find is finding people and finding something to perpetuate that topic is one of the toughest things. And do people really care about what you're talking about? That's the big deal. You're not Seth Rogen. You're not David Spade and Dana Carvey with fly on the wall things. You know, a lot of people are doing that, or the Kelsey brothers as well. That'll die.
Yeah.
It's going to peak. They're way up there now. They're like 1 and 2 on the charts for podcasting. But podcasting, and especially you look at this market, it's expensive to buy media here in Houston.
Yeah.
So why don't you, instead of pushing on media, get a pull audience, get people who are interested in your product and get them to come to you and subscribe. But you got to do it good. It is broadcast, even though it's not on a terrestrial platform. It's got to be good. And that's the key.
Yeah.
And they're making technology now that you can do it out of your home if you want.
Yep.
But there's so much more to it than that. There has to be a legitimate broadcast production quality to that. Just like this. This is not in your dining room. This is real.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand. But I think from a topic standpoint, clearly understand what you want to do. It's like launching anything.
Yeah, for sure.
If you don't know, then don't do it. Put your money away.
Right.
Save it up until you do. Do some research.
Yeah.
Something like that. If you want to be a rock star on something, that's fine. But don't do something that's temporary. Do something that can be lasting, like you're talking about
No doubt.
as well.
Yeah, I think that's strategizing it. And that's a space that we've really got into partly from this show and a couple other shows that we've launched from here is just trying to do it excellent, by...
You're not trying. You do that. You see, you brought excellence here to Houston. You're only applying that excellence. Okay, go for it.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's, I couldn't find it myself, what exactly I was looking for.
Yeah.
And then so it's like, okay, well then let's make it and create it. There's got to be other people like me that have a voice that want to say something, that need to say something. The world's a better place because of them in it and what they have to offer and say and all of that. And then to put the detail and precision and time and excellence into it, from the sound to the cameras, but starting where you are, is what I teach people. You can always add on. It's like going to buy a car. You may not can buy the showroom floor car, but let's start with the base model.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it still has to be, the base model still has to be excellent. We don't want to go cheaply and go let's just skip over this and let's go to this one. But I can't afford that one, or I can't maintain that one. Then I would say, then don't do that. Start here, maintain it, do it great and excellent. Then add on, add a camera, but by all means, do not start with bad sound. Nobody's listening to bad sound.
No.
Nobody's listening to bad sound.
And presentation skills as well.
Yeah.
That's important. So if you were to do, I hate mission statements, but if you were to do a flat, what is the purpose of For the One?
The purpose for the One is to bring excellence to the industry and spread good through the industry to the world.
There you go. I love it. That's great.
It's the reason we got into the industry was to do it with excellence. And everything that we touched. I say all the time, we're looking to hire new positions. And the first of the call, I always say, the reason we got into the industry is because of excellence. So I have high standards. I don't believe in dictatorships. I believe in community and fostering team. But I don't bend on my standards neither for it. So excellence is a high standard. Customer service is also what we hang our hat on. And then just being kind, good people. So if that's something that you feel like you want to be a part of, then hey, we can start the conversation. But I lay the groundwork from the beginning of what we our culture is, we're a close-knit family here. All of us, hang out together, spend a lot of time together, look out for each other, support each other. And I think that bleeds over into everything that you touch and produce, when you foster a culture that way.
And you don't even have to say anything. All you have to do is stand and experience the environment, and you go, and you get it. The good thing is that was a great statement as well, because it was gentle.
Thank you.
You want to make sure that when you approach someone, that you're not scary. You want to be welcoming and have people go, I want to hang out with these guys, and maybe they'll pay me too.
Yeah.
The concept, and you get the respect because they can see. I've always been a big believer in demonstrating stuff.
Yes.
You know, as a parent and a grandparent, you can say all you want, but the things that you do
It will be
are
what
the,
they
are
do.
the difference between
Yep.
whether you have a good result or a bad result.
That's true.
Yep.
And it's are we perfect? Absolutely not. Do we try? Absolutely, we do that as well. So it's you know, people come to a radio lounge and say it's very peaceful and calm there. They come to our house as well and say the same thing. It's like, oh, okay, so I've got some peace and calm working around me as well.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this podcasting thing is a great idea.
Yes.
And it's huge. Huge.
It is. And, you know, there's so many people that are wanting to get into this space. And the biggest question we probably get a lot is, you know, really, should I do one? There's like 1 million people doing a podcast.
Doesn't matter.
And I'm like, there's 1 million people doing everything in the world. You know, like how many songs are written on a daily basis? How many songs are put out? How many movies are being made? How much content's being made? How many people are on TikTok? Like, just look at it. Of course there are. Of course there are. But if you're trying to get somewhere and you really feel like it's something you want to do, and give it a year to a year and a half.
Well, that's a great point. Don't. It's not one and done.
No.
You're not going to get rich overnight, and you're not going to get famous.
If you really want a long-term look at, you're at 7 years. Just saying.
Yeah.
So, but 18 months gives you a good gauge of, should I keep doing this? Do I like this? Is this maintainable? So I try to map it out for people if they come to me to say, I'm like, what is it that you really want to do? You know, Kelley has a million brilliant ideas for movies in him. You know, it's a great way to test markets for, hey, just do a podcast show about the concept and see what responses you get.
Yep.
It's a good test the market, promote it, see what audiences respond to in that. So that's not a show that goes on forever, right?
No.
And then you have ones that are really needing to market a product. And I'm like, brilliant. Do you know how much content you can get if you come and shoot an entire day here? You're going to shoot all your episodes, then you're going to cut every episode up into 13 little reels. Then you're going to get quotes from there. Now you're going to get stills from there. Now you're going to get slides from that. You got enough content from one day that is high quality, excellent, professional content in one day by doing a show that now you don't worry with for the rest of the next 3 months. You know?
And, you know, you've talked about, you know, this before. We've talked about this a lot, about testing these ideas, these big, expensive film ideas in a much more affordable podcast space. But I hadn't really thought about it until this very moment of, like, you know, in advertising, I'm from an advertising background, and we send all scripts and whatnot. It goes through testing, and it goes through, you know, we're testing these scripts because people are going to spend millions of dollars. You know, it's a big deal. But a podcast, if you had enough forethought, you could literally take said script and you could take individual scenes and you could test those in a podcast space. Yes, you would reformat it for the podcast, but nonetheless, you're testing scenes out on audiences watching and responding to see if that flies or not, if it gets any ground at all, to test that entire film that way.
It takes the idea of a focus group completely to a next level.
Yes.
A global audience.
Yes.
Exactly.
And not only that, I think that would be a very successful podcast because that audience would love to listen in and learn on segments and go like, nah, oh, that's good. I mean, if you are in the industry, you might could get your hands on some scripts, but not ones that are actually being looked at, not ones that you're really diving into and kind of like dissecting and stuff like that. So I think that would be a very interesting podcast for an audience would like that, you know, and at the same time, you're like, they like that. They don't like that. Totally. You know, I mean, get a gauge.
I think you've discovered a new podcast right here.
Today alone, he's discovered like 10.
Oh, really?
Okay, yes. Okay. We get Kelley thinking and dreaming, and Kelley's off to the races.
Oh, you should never stop thinking and dreaming. Please keep that going all the time.
Yes.
No, that's a great idea. Isn't that wonderful? Think about our industries here in Houston. You know, you don't even have to fly in. Oil and gas, computer, technology, medical.
Medicine. Yep.
I mean, what could you not do? It's huge. This is a big city. There's a lot of people here.
That's true.
Yes.
And think about getting that message out. So I think the podcast idea is a great idea. Coming from broadcast, I think you have to be, I'm a bit of a snob. I think you need to be legitimate and good at what you do.
Me
I don't
too.
care what you're saying.
Yeah.
Make it good.
Yes.
Make it, clean it up, make it good.
Yeah.
The thing that I have, there are some people, and I always try to encourage them. A lot of people think just because it's a podcast, you've got the profanity. It's like, dude, do you not understand who you're talking to and potentially who is listening to this or could potentially have ramifications down the road? There's a gentleman, I won't mention his name, but the name of his podcast was offensive. I said, man, you're in business here in Houston and you're talking to families. Stop that. Oh, no, it doesn't matter. It's like, yeah, it does matter. It does matter. I had a guy who came to us from one of the homeless places. He had written a rap song, supposedly. And every other reference was a bad reference. Not profanity, but I'm talking culturally bad.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, dude, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Get that out of there. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
So that's important. So whatever you present out there, I mean, I was even listening to Fly on the Wall. Those guys, why do you have to do that? Why? You can do so much better.
Yeah, and I think, closing our thoughts, it's what a way to land the conversation. For us, there's a lot of good in this world and there's a lot of bad in this world.
Yeah.
And especially in this industry, our heart was, there's a lot of people that are like, want to bash Hollywood or say things about the direction of our media and all of that. And for me, it was like, if I ever hear myself complaining about something or not liking it, I ask myself, what am I going to do about it? Right. And that's why we're in it. That's why we're in it, to give people other options to listen so that we're not flooding what is there, that we create the content that is good, that is inspiring, that is encouraging, that's uplifting, that's excellent, so that we have more options like that.
That is not tearing somebody down, that is building something up that is positive.
Yes.
If you've been cut off by somebody on the road, you don't know what they're going through.
Right.
You can get mad at them,
Right.
or you can say, you know what, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's your space. I'm okay with that. And I think if we can perpetuate that, I think that's our role as human beings here, to grow some positivity. Coming from 1951, which is my birth year, the world is no longer, not any angrier now than it was back then, nor messed up than it is now than it was back then. There's always been that bad, negative cultural aspect of who we are. So doing something like this, what you guys are doing, both inside the walls here in the building and outside in the world, you got to keep doing that. And you got to make sure that you're the person that, my wife would do this all the time, God bless her. There's a turtle crossing the road. Do you stop and help it? Or do you say, geez, hope nobody hits that turtle? You stop and help the turtle.
Yeah.
So that's my thought.
That's it. That's who we want to be.
Can we do that all the time?
thank
I
you.
hope so.
Yeah.
You guys keep doing what you're doing
Thanks, Ray.
because you've brought, as I said,
Thanks, Ray.
next level stuff to Houston.
Thank
And
you.
I want to talk on our podcast more about your stuff too as well.
We will
Perfect.
do it.
Well, we have just delighted in sitting with you. Like always, Ray, it's just an honor. And thanks for taking the time to come hang out with us. It's been fun.
And drive it all the way from Sugarland.
Oh,
yeah.
It's worth the trip, folks. Even if you're in Sugarland, you can come up here, okay? I'm saying.
That's right.
Just have an easy take. It's all good. Thanks,
That's it.
guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Until then, we'll see you on Set Life.